What's up, guys, and welcome back to MoAn Inc. If you guys are new here, then hello. My name's Erica, and for today's video, as you can see from the title, we are locking into the final saga of Epic the Musical, which means that we're diving into the Ithaca saga today. But before we can get into that, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon so that you know every single time I post in the future. Now that you've so kindly done that, let's get into the video. Just as your disclaimer before we actually dive into listening to the musical, and we're just going to do this one top to bottom, no cuts. We're just going to listen to it together because I'm probably going to get emotional. So embarrassing. But anyways, I'm probably going to get quite emotional during this. And I did just want to let you guys know, I am coming to this first and foremost as a fan of Epic. Though, yes, I am a classicist, and though, yes, I love the ancient texts. I love reading the Odyssey and the Iliad. I love the ancient Greek world. That's what this whole channel is dedicated to. The purpose of my series talking about Epic is literally just to highlight the differences between the two, or at times to say, yes, this happens in the Odyssey. I want to use this as an educational tool to engage you guys with this, obviously with Epic, but also with the source material. And both things can be good whilst being different, and both things can be works of art that don't necessarily have to map exactly onto one another. And so that's always the message that I put forward. I have said this disclaimer in every single video. So now that you know that, in case, again, you've never seen my face before, would I recommend that you watch all the other videos before this one? Absolutely, but I can't make you do anything. If you just want to hear the end of Epic, let's start playing the music. Song number 1 is called The Challenge.
I'm supposed to choose a suitor to wear the crown. I said I would choose as soon as I weave this shroud. They don't know that every night I unthread all the work I've done, 'cause I'd rather lie than allow them to think they've won.
Perfect. So right out the gate, we are told that Penelope tells us that she has been weaving a shroud, and every night she has unwoven what she has woven as a way to kind of deter the suitors. And that's exactly what happens in the Odyssey. Now in the Odyssey, the suitors do clock onto this, and they know that's what she's done. And they get really annoyed by this. They're just like, who does she think she is? Blah, blah, blah. Clever. That's who she thinks she is. She's clever and intelligent, and that is why Odysseus is obsessed with her. Obviously. Oh, also you should know, in case you haven't tuned into the other videos, I always print out the lyrics, so that way we can quote appropriately, because sometimes we hear things and, you know, it's not actually what's sung, so I wanted to make sure that it was 100% accurate. But yeah, so the shroud, interestingly, is for Odysseus' father, Laertes. In the Odyssey, this isn't mentioned in the musical, but in the Odyssey, Penelope tells the suitors that she has to weave this shroud, that when Laertes, Odysseus' dad, dies, he's going to need this over him, you know, sort of like, that's like the correct burial rites. And it does sound really harsh, and it always sounds like oh my god, he's still alive. Penelope, like, why are you weaving this shroud? And it is a really easy joke to make. I think I've even made that joke before, and I've seen lots of other classes make that joke, that it seems very passive-aggressive of Penelope to be making this, like, death shroud, basically, for Laertes. But actually, in the ancient world, it would have been, like, Penelope would have been seen in a lower light if she wasn't prepared for Laertes to die by having this shroud, because it would take so long to weave the shroud that she should have been ahead of it. So actually, she's doing everything right in the Odyssey. It's just a really easy joke to make. But anyways, back to the song.
Though I never thought that I'd resort to this, just know I'll be here. But I don't know how much longer I'll last since we saw that storm. And though it was so close to our kingdom, it was far from the norm. Unless, oh, could it be some kind of sign that my world is all about to change? Is it finally time for the challenge I arranged? Though I never thought that it would come to
Okay, so having the suitors come in to say that line, time to be the man of the house, we need to remember that the suitors are on Ithaca. They have overrun Ithaca, right? So as correctly said in the not the previous saga, the saga before that, Telemachus says there are like 108 suitors that are in and around the palace of Ithaca. And 100%, this is what happens in Homer, this is what we're told. They think that Odysseus is dead. Right? So they have shown up. We'll talk about this a little bit more in the next song, but they think that Odysseus is dead. And so they're like, well, there's a throne that's open and we are not kings of anything. It would be really nice to be king of Ithaca because Penelope is also kind of hot, right? It's like, to them, they think everybody wins. To them. So for them to come in and to say it's time to be the man of the house, that's who they want to be. They want to be king. They are there for one purpose and one purpose only. Okay? Let's remember that.
On bow and shoot through 12 axes cleanly will be the new king. Sit down at the throne and rule with me as his queen.
No notes. It's exactly the challenge that she puts forward in the Odyssey. 10 out of 10. Fabulous.
Let the arrow fly once you know that your aim is true. 'Cause I'd rather die than grow old without the best of you. Though I never thought that these would be the lengths we go for love, I would not have it any other way. And though I never thought that it would end like this, just know I'll be here.
Song number 2 is Hold Them Down.
Whoever can string the old king's bow and shoot through 12 axes cleanly will be the new king. Sit down at the throne and never be as his queen. Where is he? Where is the man who can string this bow?
Screw this competition. We've been here for hours. None of us can string this. We don't have the power. Screw this damn challenge. No more delays. Can't you guys see we're being played?
100%. That's the point. The point of the challenge that Penelope puts forward is to stall them even more because she knows, everybody knows, no one's going to be able to do this, right? So love that this is thrown in there.
This is how they hold us down while the throne gets colder. Hold us down while we slowly age. Hold us down while the boy gets bolder. Where in the hell is our pride and our rage? Here and now there's a chance for action. Here and now we can take control. Here and now burn it down to ashes. Channel the fire inside your soul. Haven't you noticed who's missing? Don't you know the prince is not around? I heard he's on a diplomatic mission, and I heard today he comes back to town. So I say we gather near the beaches. I say we wait till he arrives. Then when he docks his ship, we can breach it. Let us leave now, today we can strike it.
Yes. In the Odyssey, the suitors do plan to intercept Telemachus because for the first 4 chapters of the Odyssey, if you go back to the ancient text, which is so funny because so many of you have started reading the Odyssey and asked me this, like lots of the people who have found my channel because of Epic, and everyone's been saying, do I have the right book? Because I've only read about Telemachus, like I haven't met Odysseus yet. Yes, the first 4 chapters are just about Telemachus, and he is inspired by Athena to leave to go and hear word of Odysseus and where he is, because remember, it's been 20 years. So Telemachus first goes to Pylos to go and see old man Nestor, And then he's sent on to Sparta to go and talk to Helen and Menelaus. Yes, that, Helen. And when he comes back, the suitors plan to ambush him, actually, because they just want to kill him because he's in the way of them being king, of them stepping into that role. Because also Telemachus is old enough that technically he could step into the man of the house role, or at least he could, he kind of is like on that fence, basically, is the character of Telemachus. So the idea that they're singing in this song about the attack that they're going to have on Telemachus, beautiful. Love it. Not like Telemachus being ambushed. Don't love that. Love the parallels is what I'm just going to keep playing the song.
Hold him down till the boy stops shaking. Hold him down while I slit his throat. Hold him down while I slowly break his pride, his trust, his faith, and his bones. Cut him down into tiny pieces. Throw him down in the great below. When the crown wonders where the prince is, only the ocean and I will know. And when the deed is done, the queen will have no one to stop us from breaking her bedroom door, stop us from taking her love and more. And then we'll hold her down while her gate is open. Hold her down while I get a taste. Hold her down while we share her spoils. I will not let any part go to waste. Here and now there's a chance for action. Here and now we can take control. Channel the fire inside your soul and hold him down. Hold him down.
Okay, I don't know who sings this song, but he absolutely killed it. This song genuinely, and I know this is controversial, a bunch of you have told me this is controversial. This is my absolute favorite song in the entire musical. Not because of the subject matter, obviously, but just because the voice and the tone of this song, the meshing, it's doing everything for me. Like, it's giving me a tone, it's giving me a moment, it's telling me a plan, it's pushing the plot along, it's keeping things interesting in Ithaca whilst Odysseus is doing all of his like weird stuff and Telemachus is being naive. Like, getting that window, this specific even window into the suitors, and having it just be so perfectly distilled into 3 minutes. Oh, you can't top it. You just can't. I think it's brilliant. And we have Antinous who's singing the song again. Again, I love the voice actor of this guy, the guy who sings this. You deserve every award, 10 out of 10. We are obsessed with you here on MoAn Inc. And I say we as me, but I'm also telling all of my viewers to be obsessed with you because this is just brilliant. But Antinous, as I've said previously, he is one of the 2 main suitors in the ancient text, the Odyssey. So there are 2, Antinous and Eurymachus, and they're just sort of the vocal ones for us when it comes to the suitors. So anytime there needs to be conversation between characters and the suitors, it tends to be the 2 of them. There are other suitors who are mentioned in the Odyssey who don't have as big a role as those 2. So I love that we have Antinous just kind of, being pulled forward and given a spotlight. And the voice actor is wonderful. Wait, I'm just looking at the lyrics now. And in brackets, it says, Antinous receives an arrow to the throat and dies. You know what I always thought that was? That little last choking part? I thought that was just because they've been talking about killing Telemachus. I thought that's what that was. I didn't realize that he dies now. What? Okay, obviously we're going to follow this up with a song that's we're getting to the end of the Odyssey, so he's going to kill everybody. So that's fine. I just didn't know that that's what that was. Oh, interesting. Look at all the detail that I'm learning alongside you guys. Okay, let's roll into the next one. Song number 3 is Odysseus.
For 20 years I've suffered every punishment and pain, from the wrath of gods and monsters to the screams of comrades slain. I come back and find my palace desecrated, sacked like Troy. Worst of all, I hear you dare to touch my wife and hurt my boy!
Okay, we miss a lot in this musical, and that's completely fine. Again, no problems. This is a work of art in of itself, and Rivera-herrans has shaped it in the way that works for his medium. But when Odysseus actually makes his way back to Ithaca in the Odyssey, he doesn't immediately go to the palace. So he shows up on Ithaca, and he's alone, right? He's actually sleeping, and he wakes up on Ithaca because he fell asleep on the boat, and then the Phaeacians take him off the boat, and then he wakes up on Ithaca like, whoa. And Athena disguises him. And before he goes back to the palace, he actually walks to see his swineherd, so his pig herd, who's this guy called Eumaeus. He goes and he meets at the hut with him and sees if he's been loyal. He has been loyal. So this is like a big moment. And then Telemachus comes to the swineherd's hut, and it's there that they actually get reunited. And then Telemachus has to go ahead to the palace, and Odysseus in disguise and Eumaeus make their own way to the palace, and then they show up, and then all of this mayhem ensues. That technically happens before the challenge. So before Penelope puts forward this challenge to the suitors, all of this happens. They then get there, and then Penelope says, hey, we've got a challenge, blah, blah. And because Odysseus is there in disguise, he lets all the other suitors try ahead of time. And so when they try and they fail, he then shows up, he successfully strings the bow, and then just turns it on everyone. So we've kind of missed a lot. We've also missed a lot of the suitors being absolute arseholes. But again, that's fine, because this is a different medium, it's a different work of art. I think to include, like, you guys know that there have been cut songs. Is there a cut song for Eumaeus? Let me know. If there is, that would be really cool. If not, no stress. That's like none of my business. I'm acting like all of this is some of my business. It isn't. No one even asked for this series, and I've just decided to give it to you. But yeah, those are all the changes that have been made. But we need to acknowledge works of art for what they are and how they work as, you know, one piece, rather than saying, oh, well, there should have been this in there, there should have been there. Like, I totally believe that every decision that Rivera-herrans has made is not because he didn't know of the other parts of the text or the other parts of the story. It's been explicitly done because it didn't work with this version, you know? So in that sense, let's actually keep listening to all the suitors getting slaughtered.
I have had enough.
Battle at the edge of the unknown.
Somewhere in the shadows lurks an agile, deadly foe.
We have the advantage, we've the numbers and the might.
No, you don't understand it. This man plans for every fight.
So that bow shot that you hear in the background, again, the same bow in the Odyssey that he has strung, right? So it's his bow, he strung it, and now he's turned it against all of the suitors. And this is what I was saying earlier, that we need to get to this point in the story, because this is how the Odyssey ends, right? He has to come and restore his palace to its former glory. And so I've frequently been saying that Odysseus, you know, he struggles between our modern idea of morality and the ancient idea of morality. And sort of weaving those things together throughout the musical has been really important, because we have to get here. Like, this is how the story ends. And I love that Rivera-herrans was not willing to get rid of that, just because it would be a hard thing it could potentially be a hard thing for a modern audience to swallow. Instead, he really leaned into it, and he made us get to this point with Odysseus. So now, you know, we're all here and we're cheering for him to kill all these people, you know? So I think that just that we all know, in the musical. We're not saying that in real life. We're not with you in any of those things, but in a mythical, musical, magical, fantastical storytelling sense, people, okay? This is something that we end up you know, we're on board with Odysseus while he's doing this.
Where is he? Where is he?
Keep your head down, he's aiming for the torches.
Our weapons, they're missing. He's using the darkness to hide his approaches.
We're empty-handed, up against an archer. Our only chance is to strike him in the darkness.
We know these odds, the odds can't be tilted.
You don't think I know my own palace? I built it.
Phenomenal writing. I mean, come on. Like, that was so well done.
Serpent's head. Now the rest of us are no longer a threat. Oh King, forgive us instead, so that no more blood is shed. Let's have open arms instead.
No.
Fabulous. That also happens in the Odyssey. Eurymachus, who is the other suitor I keep mentioning, who's like the other main suitor, he does have a moment where he's like, oh, maybe we should talk about this. And Odysseus kills him anyways. So I like how that was thrown in here. And again, the character of Eurymachus literally says that. And for Odysseus to be like, no. Brilliant.
Damn, he's more cunning than I assumed. While we were busy plotting, he hid our weapons inside this room.
I find it hard to believe that the sharpest of kings left his armory unlocked.
So what? Now that we have armed ourselves, let's make the bastard rot.
Behind you!
Here's a fun fact. This does happen in the Odyssey, actually, that a little bit differently. So when it comes to the armory being unlocked, this is an accident, actually. Telemachus goes in and he doesn't properly close the door. It's really frustrating, but alas, he is basically a child at this point. Even though he's in his early 20s, he has not had any role model, apparently, for, like, common sense either. Sorry, Telemachus, but, like, what were you doing that you left the armory unlocked? And this does allow for Melanthius, it is Melanthius, right? Yeah! So this does allow for Melanthius to go in there and to arm the suitors. So this is something that comes out of the ancient text and is really casually thrown in here and works beautifully with the song. Oh, and funnily enough, actually, the guy that he's speaking to, so Amphinomus, he is noted as being, like, in the Odyssey, he's noted as being, like, the most sympathetic or, like, empathetic of the suitors. He's one of the only ones that says that they shouldn't kill Telemachus when they're all planning to do that. So it's really interesting that it's actually both of those suitors who are coming forward in this moment. Oh, wonderful, rivera-herrans! We love to see it! And yes, every single one of them are killed. No one is spared, not even the potentially nicer one.
Throw down those weapons, and I ensure you'll be spared.
After seeing what the king will do to us, we wouldn't dare.
I don't want to hurt you, but trust me, I've come prepared.
Your very presence is doomed the king, young prince. We don't fight fair.
Stop!
Brothers, we got company, and he's made a grave mistake. Left the weapons room unlocked, and now they're ours to take.
This is what I just said, they're gonna go take it.
Brothers, come and arm yourselves. There's a chance for us to win. We can still defeat the king if we all attack the prince.
Where is he? Where is he?
Capture him, he's our greatest chance.
Get off me! Get off me!
Fight till the prince can barely stand.
Hold him down! Hold him down!
Make the king obey our commands.
Hold him down! Hold him down!
'Cause if he won't, I'll break the kid's hands. Got him.
Mercy. Mercy. My mercy.
mercy is long since drowned. It died to bring me home. And as long as you're around, my family's fate is left unknown. You plotted to kill my son. You planned to rape my wife. All of you are going to die. You filled my heart with hate. All of you who have done me wrong. This will be your fate!
Perfect. Beautiful. No notes. Absolutely no notes for that song. Honestly, I think that was done really, really well. And I think that last part is just sort of vocalizing everything that I was saying before, which is, you know, we have to be on board with him. And the way that Odysseus kind of says, well, no, here's how you screwed up. I've gone on this whole journey. It's really ruined me anyways. And now I have to deal with you trying to kill my son and trying to rape my wife. So, no. And it's a good way for Rivera-herrans to be speaking to his modern audience to remind us again that this, for the story structure, we are supposed to be on Odysseus' side. Even in the ancient text, we're supposed to be on his side when he does this. So we are going to roll into the final two songs. And I think what I'm going to do is just listen to them first, and I will chit chat at the end, tell you about the little notes that I have as we work our way through. But because it's the last two songs, I just want us to enjoy the songs as songs rather than passing them out. So listen first and then we will chit chat. The penultimate song is I Can't Help But
Wonder. Father? Son. All my life I'd have died to meet you. Thought about your name so much it hurts. For 20 years I dreamt of how I'd greet you. Oh, and now you're here. Find the words. All my life I'd have died to know you. Days and nights I wish that I could show you. For 20 years I never could outgrow you. Oh, and now you're here. I can't help but wonder what your world must be if we're like each other. If I have your strength in me. All this time I've wondered if you'd embrace me as your own. 20 years I've wondered, for so long I felt alone. Oh my son, look how much you've grown. Oh my boy, sweetest joy I've known. 20 years ago I held you in my arms, how time has flown. Oh, used to say I'd make the storm clouds cry for you. Used to say I'd capture wind and sky for you. Held you in my arms, prepared to die for you. Oh, how time has flown. I can only wonder what your world has been. Things you've had to suffer, and the strength you hold within. All I've ever wanted was to reunite with my own. 20 years we've wandered, but today you're not alone. My son, I'm finally home. Father, how I've longed to see you. Telemachus, I'm home.
Tell your mother I'm home. I'll be there in a moment. Of course.
Oh God, this is where it gets really emotional, guys.
Show yourself. I know you're watching me. Show yourself. You were never one for hellos.
I can't help but wonder what this world could be if we all held each other with a bit more empathy. I can't help but feel like I led you astray. What if there's a world where we don't have to live this way?
If that world exists, it's far away from here. It's one I'll have to miss, for it's far beyond my years. You might live forever, so you can make it be. But I've got one endeavor. There's a girl I have to see.
Very well.
Father, she's waiting for you.
And the final song is Would You Fall in Love with Me Again?
Penelope.
Is it you? Have my prayers been answered? Is it really you standing there? Or am I dreaming once more? You look different. Your eyes look tired. Your frame is lighter. Your smile torn. Is it really you, my love?
I am not the man you fell in love with. I am not the man you once adored. I am not your kind and gentle husband. And I am not the love you knew before. Would you fall in love with me again if you knew all I've done? The things I cannot change. Would you love me all the same? I know that you've been waiting for love.
What kinds of things did you do?
Left a trail of red on every island. As I traded friends like objects I could use. Hurt more lives than I can count on my hands. But all of that was to bring me back to you. So tell me, would you fall in love with me again if you knew all I've done? The things I can't undo. I am not the man you knew. I know that you've been waiting.
If that's true, could you do me a favor? Just a moment of labor that would bring me some peace. See that wedding bed? Could you carry it over? Lift it high on your shoulders and take it far away from here.
How could you say this? I had built that wedding bed with my blood and sweat. Carved it in into the olive tree where we first met, a symbol of our love everlasting. Do you realize what you have asked me? The only way to move it is to cut it from its roots.
Only my husband knew that, so I guess that makes him you.
Penelope.
I will fall in love with you over and over again. I don't care how or when, no matter how long it's been, you're mine. Don't tell me you're not the same person. You're always my husband, and I've been waiting, waiting,
Penelope.
waiting, waiting.
Penelope.
For you. How long has it been?
20 years.
I love you.
Okay, I'm gonna need like 1 minute. Just one. Oh, I forgot I wasn't holding my microphone when I said that. Anyways, okay. We've now come to the end of Epic the Musical, guys, and there's actually quite a bit to say about the last two songs. I just didn't want to interrupt us, mainly because I didn't want to have to be talking in case I cried. I was hoping I wasn't going to. I kept it together. I think I did a really good job. I normally, here's a fun fact, cannot listen to either of these songs in public because I will sob like a baby. And so I never really re-listen to these songs, even though I love them. But if I feel the need, it is at home, it is in the comfort of either my bedroom or my living room. I am not in public. Ever. So first of all, let's go back to I Can't Help But Wonder. And if we go to Telemachus's verse, he sings, I can't help but wonder what your world must be if we're like each other, if I have a strength in me. All this time I've wondered if you'd embrace me as your own. 20 years I've wondered, for so long I felt alone. Right? And we have this big sort of reunion that happens between the two of them where they're kind of talking this out. Now this happens in the musical after the suitors have already been slaughtered. As I have previously said, that happens in Eumaeus' hut in the Odyssey. So this happens away from the palace so that way when they go into the fight, even though Odysseus is in disguise as he strings the bow, Telemachus knows that it's his dad. Okay, so this is just something that happens out of order. Again, nothing wrong with it. It's just important to highlight those differences. And then when we come to the end of the song, we have Athena sing, I can't help but wonder what this world could be if we all held each other, even, with a bit more empathy. I can't help but feel like I led you astray. What if there's a world where we don't have to live this way? And Odysseus replies, if that world exists, it's far away from here. It's one I'll have to miss, for it's far beyond my years. Oh my god, I'm gonna cry just reading these. You might live forever, so you can make it be, but I've got one endeavor. There's a girl I have to see. And I think this is so beautiful in connecting Odysseus's ancient story to today. It's the acknowledgement of like, that's great, but it's not my world. Like, I'm here for one purpose and one storyline, and I want to see my Penelope. Whereas Athena's singing, I wish that we could all be this way. And it's also rivera-herrans putting in his voice and his hopes and wishes. I think at least. I hope at least. You know, it's him throwing in his own hopes so that people, when they come away from the musical, have something to hold on to. And I love the idea of Athena singing that and Odysseus kind of being like, that should happen at some point, but it's not this world. I think that was just absolutely beautifully done. And now coming to the final song, Would You Fall in Love With Me Again? There are some notes that we should make, which are really exciting, actually. They're really, really good, because when we get to this point of Penelope, her final test to Odysseus is that she asks him to move their wedding bed. And in the song, it's really casual. She's like, oh, could you just do me a favor? Can you move that thing and, get it far away from here? That does happen in the Odyssey. So Penelope is often described as being just as smart as Odysseus. And this is why they bond, and the reason why they have a very special relationship. And that's highlighted in the text. There's a word, I can't remember off the top of my head in Greek, but the word means in English that Odysseus and Penelope are of the same mind. So Penelope, even though Odysseus has now presented himself to her, she knows that that's him, he strung the bow, all of this, she just can't quite, she's not gonna be this woman that he can just roll right over. She doesn't know if it's 100% him. She hasn't seen him in 20 years. He looks different now. He's not only thinner, she mentions that, obviously he's been at sea, but also he's gonna have a massive facial hair. He's not gonna be as prim and proper as a king should be. And so she tests him one last time by asking him to move the wedding bed. Now, as well, what is correctly done is that Odysseus fires back and he's offended by this, which is what Penelope's hoping, because the wedding bed was, as Odysseus says, he says that he carved it into an olive tree, and it is actually a part of the house. So the tree kind of grows in the middle, or at least somewhere in the house, it grows, and the wedding bed is part of this tree. And so Odysseus is fuming in the text when Penelope suggests this, and he does start going off by being like, how could you ask, blah, blah. And that is Penelope's way of knowing, there is no one else that would know this singular fact about our bedroom aside from Odysseus. So I love that was pulled forward, and that's that final little push that Penelope needs. It's that way in the ancient text, and it was done beautifully, absolutely beautifully in the musical. Now, interestingly, when it comes to the end of the Odyssey and to the end of this musical, the musical actually ends at a different point than the ancient text. So this is the sort of final part of book 23. So the epic poem is 24 chapters long, 24 books long, and this is how book 23 ends. And rivera-herrans has cut out book 24. Now, what happens in book 24 is that Odysseus, after reuniting with his son, with all of the people, and deciding who has been loyal to him, like the swineherd in the book, and etc., he then reunites with his wife, and lastly, he goes to reunite with his father. His father lives off, not in the palace, so Laertes he has to go and say hi to. Also, remember, he has been visited in the underworld by his mother Anticlea, so he goes to reunite with his dad, and that happens in book 24. Now, I'm not going to be here and say, oh, well, he cut it off before the end of the poem, because something interesting that you should know about the poem is that this was hotly debated of where the Odyssey ended. And I say this was hotly debated not by modern scholars, but by ancient scholars. So I do have a video, or I have many videos about this, and I also talk about this in my book, The Odyssey Effect, How Homer's Epic Poem Shaped the World, where if we fast forward in the timeline, because this poem was written down in the 8th century BC or BCE. Prior to that, it was oral poetry, so it was part of this massive interconnected network of stories, and it gets written down in the 8th century BC. If we fast forward to the Library of Alexandria, we have a lot of scholars that come to work in the Library of Alexandria, right? They're all really, really smart. They go to work there, and when they're there, they collect books and scrolls, right? So that's how books would have been transmitted in the ancient world. So they're collecting all these scrolls, and they got a lot of different scrolls of Homer, both the Iliad and the Odyssey. So what the scholars decided to do is that they decided to sit down and to come up with these finite versions of the Homeric texts, because there were so many differing versions that this was frustrating to them. So what they did is they laid out all of the scrolls even, laid them all out, and they started picking out what was the same in all of them. So that was 100% Homer, and then they had to piece together, okay, well, the majority of them say this, and etc., etc. And that's how we end up getting the final version of the Odyssey. This final version that we say is the original text. Now, interestingly about this is that we do have some notes from these ancient scholars, and where the Odyssey ended, whether it was when Odysseus has this whole test with Penelope and it stops at book 23, or whether it continues for him to go and speak to Laertes and reunite with his father, they could not agree even then. Okay, there are scholars who say absolutely it must end with book 24. That's when his homecoming is complete, when he speaks to his father, so we have included that. But we do have lots of notes of scholars saying this is ridiculous. Like, there's no way that that's the end of the book. The book is clearly about his reunion with his wife. So I really like that Rivera-herrans picked book 23 because it gives me something to talk about in this video, which I always find incredibly fascinating when it comes to the discussion of Homeric poetry, but also because he's gone not in a route that is incorrect. I don't know if he knows. Again, I would love to interview him to see if he knew this ahead of time, or if for him, the story just made more sense ending with Penelope. Because the ancient scholars, again, like Rivera-herrans is on the side of a lot of them. A lot of very prominent ancient scholars in the Library of Alexandria did believe that this was the correct ending. I'm curious for you guys though, if you guys have read the Odyssey, or if maybe, you know, you've just sort of watched my summary series of it. Where do you think the Odyssey should end? Do you think that it should be book 23, cut off, don't read book 24? Or are you a big, you know, fan of book 24 and of watching Odysseus reunite with his father? Let me know in the comments below. But with all that being said, we have come to the end of Epic the Musical. I'm so thrilled that you guys have been on this ride with me. I have loved seeing all the comments of people who have said that they didn't listen to the musical prior to me doing reactions, all the people who have listened to the musical and come to this channel because of Epic. Every single one of you has made this journey for me as a content creator massively exciting. Do not forget that you can find all of the links for me on Instagram, on TikTok, and all of that in the description below, as well as links to pre-order my book in case you want to hop on that as well, talking all about the Odyssey through history. So thank you guys so much from the bottom of my heart. Thank you to Rivera-herrans for creating such an incredible musical that has gotten so many people excited about the Odyssey. And with that, I will love you and leave you. Thank you so much, and I'll be seeing you next time with completely different videos here on MoAn Inc. I'll see you guys then.